common commands of the Linux distributions so that you can get acquainted with the Linux system so that you can understand what we are doing at the rest of these sections, okay? So double click on your terminal so that you can have this terminal. And remember what this does, we write commands inside of this terminal and Kali Linux executes those commands and give us the results. So what do I mean? I'm going to show you, don't worry. But before we continue, you have to come over here and just open the preferences and make it a little bit customized if you want. For example, you can just click on this new tab in order to have more than one tab, like a web page, okay? You can just write more than one commands in multiple terminals if you want. Over here, you can just zoom in the edit tab so that you can see it better. For example, I'm going to zoom in a little bit because I believe this is too small for you to see it, okay? I believe this is nicer, so even let me just zoom in a little bit more, like that. Now it's better, okay? And if you come over here to view, you can see you can make it full screen, but the most important part over here is the preferences, where you can change the appearance or font or theme, whatever you want. You're more than welcome to customize your terminal in a way that you want. For example, I'm going to change the size of the font to maybe something like 14 or 16 or 12 in order to make it more readable for you. Okay, and I believe this was smaller than what we had in the first place. So let me zoom in a little bit so that you can see the comments better. Okay, so here we go. So first thing that we're going to do is to change the keyboard language. Why are we doing that? Because if you're in an English keyboard, then it's okay. But if you're not in an English keyboard, then you will have some kind of issue over here because Kali Linux starts with default English keyboard. So if you run this, set xk bmap, you can change your keyboard. For example, if I want to change this to a Turkish keyboard, which I have in my computer, I can just run set xk bmap tr. So I can write some Turkish characters right now. So you can do this for your own country or your own keyboard, and you can just write the country code like a common sense. For example, for Germany it's DE or GR. For example, for US it's US, obviously, and you can just run the commands later on. For example, if you write pwd and hit enter, it will give you something like root. So what does it mean? It means that print working directory. So we are in root right now. Remember, in the file system, we had this root thing. So if you click on root, you can see the desktop, documents, downloads, music, pictures, and stuff, okay? So we can browse inside of terminal like we are browsing inside of file manager as well. So we're going to do that a lot. For example, if I say something like ls, I can see all the related contents and files or folders inside of my current working directory. For example, I'm inside of root directory, right? And if I want to see the documents, downloads, music, and all available folders for me, I can run this ls. It stands for list, and it lists all the available folders and files for me. Now, suppose that I want to go inside of documents, like that. So let me come over here to root, and let me just double-click one of those, for example, inside of terminal, not from the file manager. For example, we had some kind of test folders inside of documents, right? So if I write cd documents like this, and after you write first characters like doc, you can hit tab, and it will auto-complete it for you. And it has to be exactly the same, like capitalized D, okay? And if you say cd documents, now you're inside of documents. If you say ls, you will see the test folder that we had previously created when we first imported Kali Linux. And I can confirm it by going over here and clicking on the root and double-clicking on the documents so that I can see the test, right? So this is cool. I can just wander around my computer inside of terminal as well, rather than going to the file system. So if I say make dir, so this stands for make directory, okay, mkdir. So I can just create any directory I want from the terminal like that. So if I say make dir test2, now if I hit ls, now I will get test2 folder. Now test2 is created thanks to my test to make your test2 command. So if I want to go inside of test2, I can just cd into it. If I run ls, I will see nothing because it's actually empty. I have just created this. It doesn't have anything inside of it. So if I say cd space dot dot, it will go one directory back. If I say cd dot dot one more time, now I'm inside of root. So over here, I can just browse the files and folders in a way that I want. And if you say clear and hit enter, it will clear the screen for you so that you can have a fresh start. And of course, browsing through the files is not the only option that we have here. Okay, we're going to do a lot of things using this terminal. We're going to hack inside of computers. We're going to do some penetration tests and stuff later on. But you have to understand that you can just execute any command that you want and Kali Linux do the thing for you. You have to know the basics in order to understand the upcoming lectures, upcoming commands. For example, let me run this apt-get update. So it will update the repositories of Kali Linux. So if you want to upgrade later on, they will be ready. So what do I mean by repositories? We have a lot of tools, we have a lot of files and folders and tools inside of Kali Linux, right? So if you run this apt-get update, it will connect to the kali.downloads and it will find the current versions of those tools and they will be ready to be upgraded. After this is completed, you can run apt-get upgrade in order to actually upgrade all those tools, okay? And this may take a while, by the way, and it will ask you if you want to continue this operation, and in order to continue with this operation, you have to write Y in an uppercase letter, okay, like this, and if you don't want to continue, you can just say N for no with a lowercase letter, but I'm going to do it anyway, so I'm going to write Y and hit enter. It will start upgrading all the repositories, all the tools inside of my Kali Linux. So after you complete this operation, I suggest you take another snapshot, because this will be a very good point to go back to if everything works fine. So some of you students may experience some issues at this point, like for example, I have come across many students when they lose their internet connection, the upgrades and updates kind of broke down and it made their Kali Linux not operable anymore, and they had to go back to the previous snapshot they had taken and do every step from beginning, from scratch, in order to complete all of these things. But it rarely happens, and I suggest you do this update and do this upgrade once you're ready, so that your Kali Linux will be up to date, because these repositories and these tools get regular updates. So it will take a while, by the way. As you can see, it's still going on for me, and if it asks for something, I'm going to show you how to proceed, but I really suggest you go for the default options that Kali Linux offers you at this point, okay? So if you come across some kind of an option or some kind of a question, just go for the default option. But if I come across anything, I'm going to show you right now, don't worry. So it's going on, and I believe, yep, right now we have some kind of an option. It says that the default is N. So it says that, yeah, if you want to keep your current version of your server configuration, just say N, and I want to keep that, okay? So I'm going to say N, and it will continue. So if I come over here, yep, it says something like configuring your grub PC, and you have to hit the arrow buttons in order to just read all of this stuff and say OK by hitting enter. So it will say something like, yeah, you have to choose wherever you want to save it. Of course, we want to save it inside of our VirtualBox hard disk, so I'm going to say OK, and it will say that continue without installing grub, and I believe the default was no, so I'm going to say no. The default was yes, actually, so I said no, so I'm back to square one. So let me choose this one more time and hit enter. Let me say okay, and let me say yes. Now it continues. So as you can see, I'm just complying with all the defaults that Kali Linux has to offer for me. And I believe it will take some more time, so I'm going to stop here, but within the next lecture,